Tonight we would like to show you the importance to protect our marine environment, but also all the hard work that is required by First Nation researchers and other groups like CPAS to succeed in protecting marine areas. When this protection is finally achieved, there is reason to celebrate. And that's exactly why we are here tonight to take part in celebrating Guyana's National Marine Conservation Area Reserve right across the country. Here to present this great achievement, please welcome Mr. Jason Alsop, Council of Haida Nation, representative on the Archipelago Management Board.
Awa, merci. Kilslai gonga, Cooljut gonga, Haida Gala Isis, Singait Las, Gogwis Hanadakigaga. Chiefs, elders, ladies of high esteem, good people, good day. My name is Gogwis, or Jason Alsop, and I'm here representing the Council of the Haida Nation and the Archipelago Management Board, responsible for taking care of Goihanas. I'd also like to acknowledge today that we're on the traditional territory of the Mohawk people, and I'd like to say a big hawa for the delegation from the James Bay Cree who made the long trip to come out here and spend this evening today with us. It's an honor. So for anyone who isn't familiar, we're from Haida Gwaii, so we're a long way from home, all the way across Turtle Island, northwest coast, British Columbia. We're just south of the Alaskan Panhandle, about 100 kilometers west of Prince Rupert. We're on this national tour here across Canada to represent Haida Gwaii. Our delegation is made up of members from Skidegate and Old Masset and a number of clans from across Haida Gwaii. And we're here today to share our story about Goihanas, but about our culture and our people. The Haida people, we have a long history with the ocean. We'll share more of our story later, but we come from the ocean, we live on an island, we live off the ocean. The ocean is everything to us, it dictates our lives. So whether it's the food that we gather from the ocean, or us traveling for trade to the mainland on our canoes, along the ocean, across some of the most treacherous waters in North America. So that connection runs very deep. But if our people recognize that it isn't just, everything is connected, the land, the sea, and the sky, the ocean and the land. We recognize there's relationships between the creatures of the ocean and the creatures of the forest. For example, the black bears that feed on the salmon and bring the salmon into the forest, which fertilizes the forest and allows the trees to grow. So we're here today to share some of that with you. Like many nations across this country and across North America, we've had our struggles. At one time, it's been estimated that our population was anywhere from 20,000 people along our archipelago, and due to smallpox and other epidemics, our population was reduced down to as many as 600 people, which moved to the two communities. So that's how we lost touch with Goihanas and with our traditional homelands, is because of that devastation. So we've been regrouping ever since and rebuilding, and protecting Goihanas is a big part of that. So we have the tough job, our president likes to joke, of repopulating. So I don't know if we're doing as good as the Cree, though we meet Cree all the way across the country out in the west, and so we're gonna have to get back to work. So in doing this tour, we kind of ask ourselves, pinch ourselves, waking up in different cities all the way here, and why are we here? Why is this group of 7 here today? We weren't the ones who stood on the line. We weren't the ones that were involved in negotiating and all of that happened back then. But we are the people that our elders did it for, and we get the chance to enjoy that area now and share it with you. So how did we get here? I asked myself that question, and I could answer it with one word: lines. Back in 1985, our elders, our leaders, our people drew a line in the sand. And that was a literal line on a logging road in Lyle Island or Othligwai to stop the cutting of our old growth forests, which are being clear cut. And they recognized that this was one of the last parts of Haida Gwaii that was still untouched, that was still connected back to the old days. And they said enough was enough. And they stood on that line during the winter, November. They stood on that line against logging companies and RCMP and stood up against corporations in order to stop the logging practices that had gotten out of line and the impact it was having on us as a people. So together, those two lines crossed and created a crossroads for our people, where we said, enough is enough. We began to reassert our control of Haida Gwaii and our right to manage our homeland. So we, at that time, designated Gwaii as a Haida Heritage Site in 1985. But our people didn't just recognize the terrestrial component that became recognized as a National Park Reserve later. It also included the marine component at that time. So that boundary was established in 1985 for the Gwaii Marine Area because we recognize that connection between the land and the ocean and the people. So to put that a little bit more into context, I was only 2 years old when that happened. So I've been able to, as long as I've been alive almost, that's been a protected area, a Haida Heritage Site, been able to grow up and enjoy that area. And it wasn't until 2 years later in 1987, thanks to the support of Canadians, organizations like CPAWS, and people across the world who all supported our cause to protect Gwaii, that was able to make it a reality. So in coming to terms and negotiating through peaceful blockade and subsequent negotiations, we've been able to determine lines of authority in that area. And we haven't given up anything. Ownership of that area still belongs to the Haida Nation. All of Haida Gwaii still belongs to Haida Gwaii. In coming to the table with Canada, we didn't relinquish any of our rights or territories. We agreed to disagree and set the land question aside in order to work together to protect that area for future generations. And now today, a new generation will be able to grow up with the Marine, Gwaii Marine, being protected and that way of life available to them, which I'm learning that is the same thing that the Cree are looking for, to have areas for your people to trap and continue to hunt as you head for as long as you've been here. So our chiefs came together, our hereditary lines, our chiefs are passed down hereditarily. They all came together and everybody agreed to come together as a nation to protect our homeland. And so we never did surrender, sell, exchange any of Haida Gwaii. It's still 100% Haida territory. And at this point, working with this model, learning from this process, we now have 50% of all of Haida Gwaii protected. So that includes Gwaii Marine, but also other areas north in Graham Island in what sometimes is called Crown Land, where we have joint management and a say in what happens in forestry. And not only a say in what happens and where it happens, but how it happens. And now we're moving in to participate in that, in managing how forestry happens in other parts of Haida Gwaii. So we can continue to grow on this model of peaceful blockades and negotiating nation to nation. So what's next in line for us? We're continuing to develop a marine plan for all of Haida Gwaii, as we recognize, again, that we cannot protect one part without protecting the other. So as we gain ground protecting forestry rights and protecting our land, we also need to ensure that our waters are protected. We're going to continue to work peacefully and respectfully to manage our territory and to build on these successes. And as a member of the Archipelago Management Board and Council of Haida Nation, and as a young person in the nation, I have a responsibility to maintain these relationships and agreements that have been established and continue working in good faith to honor these agreements and make sure that we continue to pass this forward to future generations. I'd also like to recognize Skonkinklas, the Bowie Seamount on the west coast of Haida Gwaii. About 100 kilometers west is another area we've been able to protect in addition to Guayhanas Marine. And that's a supernatural area to our people that we've been able to establish our right 100 kilometers west out in the open ocean. So moving forward, we're going to continue our relationship to our homeland. In the way that we've worked these agreements out, we do not lose any of our rights. We are still able to fish, hunt, travel, do as we've done in these areas. And I think that's really important to point out, that we're not giving up anything when we do this, that we have all the same rights that we've always had in these areas. It's really a big honor to be here and speak to you today as a member of the Archipelago Management Board and to be responsible for caring for the only place on the planet that's protected from mountaintop to seafloor. And we hope to see more places like that in Canada and around the world. In closing, I'd like to share a quote from one of our elders that serves as somewhat of a guiding principle for us, and that is that we don't inherit the lands and waters from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. At the long stings, the long wad, the hung, tulgao, kalaga, however being here.